welcome to the Josefa Salinas Show. I am Josefa Salinas. With me today, a woman who is a good friend. We've worked together. She is an opera singer, an artistic director. She has also worked in the public with public speaking, being a mentor. She's also a Los Angeles Public Library Commissioner with me. Dale Franzen is with me today. Good morning.
Good morning.
It is so good to have you here. And one of the most amazing things when I read it, I was reading all about you and your bio and everything, because I only know you as a commissioner. So I saw that you have sung with Placido Domingo.
Yes, I sang with Placido twice, actually.
Wow.
In Don Carlo, both times at LA Opera, where he is now the general manager and runs the company as artistically and in every way. I sang with him in Don Carlo by Verdi, where he was Don Carlo, and then I sang with him in Carmen. And that was fun. I got to take a gun and poke him and move him around, and it was great. It was great fun.
Well, now you're embarking on something new. We've got an exciting show that's now in New York, but let's talk about how you got there. How does one become a producer on Broadway and with theater?
Everybody's asking me that, and this was not the road I thought I was on. I started developing a show called Hades Town that is about the Greek myth of Orpheus and Hades and Persephone and Eurydice, and I thought it was going to be a found space kind of show, like a funky kind of East Village in New York kind of show, or downtown LA kind of show. And then things started moving in a different direction. We did an off-Broadway run 2 years ago, which was a huge hit. We then got asked to go to Canada. We just closed at the National Theatre in London Saturday night, 2 days ago, and we're opening on Broadway March 22nd.
Wow.
So how did we get there? That's a really good question. I mean, I think, being in the arts, as we both are, it's not a linear path. It's not like saying I'm going to go to medical school and I'm going to come out and be a doctor. My path has been, I started as a singer, then I ended up building a theater, the Broad Stage, and running that, and then out of that I ended up becoming a producer. So none of this was expected in a certain way.
So you didn't actually go to college with the plan of, I'm going to be a producer?
I went to college as a voice student. So I went to college and got a master's in voice because I thought I would only be a singer and that's all I would ever do. But then things started changing.
So in this world of entertainment, when we know it is very male-driven and male-dominated, although the women, we are coming on kind of strong now.
Mm-hmm.
How did you find it when you first started? Because you've been doing this for about 30 years, but the same amount of time I've been doing radio. And I would imagine that even 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, it was a different landscape than what you're seeing now.
Well, we were talking earlier about if we were pregnant now, it wouldn't stop us from being on the air. And it wouldn't stop us from being in a TV show when you have producers like Shonda Rhimes. I mean, I was just reading about how everyone in Grey's Anatomy has been pregnant at one point.
And you never knew when you saw the show. They were so
knew.
Clever about how they did it.
When I was coming up as an opera singer, nobody had children. I was one of the few women working in opera who had a child. And my agent actually said to me at the time, don't let anybody know. He thought it would be a deterrent because I was doing ingenue roles, and he thought it would be a bad thing. And I remembered that later thinking, wow. And so I didn't. Nobody knew for a while. And then I met people like Renee Fleming and Frederica von Stade and other singers who were more famous than me who had children. And it began to change. But things were very different. I mean, there were definitely opportunities that I didn't take because I had children, where now my children, I have 2 daughters and a son, it won't hold them back at all. I just hope they have children so I can have a grandchild. But I'm so jealous of you because I know you have lots of them. But it won't hold them back. And in fact, legally, it can't hold them back. So I think things have radically changed. And even just this year with the Me Too movement and what's going on, I was just telling you about, we're working at the National Theatre in London. And everybody's very conscious of how many women are on set, how many people of minority, how many LGBTQ, all that. I mean, it's a different world than the world I grew up in and the world I started singing in.
So there's a difference in the way Europeans are handling that subject as opposed to in the American market.
I think they're ahead of us. I think they're ahead of us. I'm very proud. My show has 13 people in the cast, and in London, 8 of the people were of minority, including a young woman that was missing an arm. So, I mean, we're very, very clear about the image that we want to set and about how we want the theater to look and how we want people to feel about it. And I think that changed with Hamilton. when you see a show that is all minority, you can't go back to seeing a show that's all white with one minority. It just looks wrong. It looks like tokenism. And that's not how the world is. That's not how our city is. That's not how London is. So that's been a very clear and specific journey that we wanted to say about the world we want to live in. And we have 2 women producers leading this, so we get to decide what to do. So that's nice.
Now, how do you find the males that you're working with now, how do they react to having a woman telling them what to do when probably they're used to a man telling them what to do?
I think the good thing is there's great men out there, and as we all know, there's rotten men out there. So we only choose to work with the great men. So the men that we're working with are fabulous. We have 2 other lead producers who are working with us on this show, and they have been magnificent. And I think when the woman has created the art, it's pretty hard for a man to come in and try and take ownership. And this is a woman composer and librettist, a woman director, 2 women lead producers. I mean, it's hard for a man to come in then and throw his weight around. They're part of a team. And I think women behave differently on a team than men do. At least that's been my experience.
Talk to me a little bit about that difference.
When I was coming up in the opera world, it was all male driven. I worked with 1 female director my entire career. And it was tough for her. She was the only one, and she was tough. And she felt she had to be tougher than the men in some ways. In fact, in some ways, it was my least favorite experience working with this woman. May she rest in peace. But that's different now. It's like if you're working in a room full of women, there's the feeling on our show and the way it's been run, there's much more consensus. We ask for opinions. We're not afraid of hearing other people's opinions. We have very strong leadership. It doesn't mean we're weak leaders or weak producers, but we ask everybody to be involved. And I think that's really different. I've worked on many shows with men. They never asked my opinion, even though I was singing in the show. They didn't say, what do you think about this scene? One time I was asked, because I was asked to go down 81 steps in Magic Flute with Sir Peter Hall directing. And the stage manager, who was a woman, came out and said, Sir Peter, I think this is dangerous. I don't want her doing this. And he called up to me and said, Dale, is this dangerous? And I said, well, I'd like to be alive to raise my children. Yes, I would rather not walk down 81 steps of a pyramid. So he said, great, come in stage left. I think that was literally the only time I can remember a director asking me my opinion about something. And that's not how it is in the theater world in general, but it's also not how it is on our show. We want everybody involved.
So let's talk a little bit about the show. How about giving some social media where people can go and hear all about this show so that they can make a plan to go to New York and see it?
Please, come to New York. Come see me. So we open March 22nd at the Walter Kerr Theater, which is on Broadway on West 48th, where the great Bruce Springsteen has just closed. So we feel like there's some really good fairy dust coming from that. And HadesTown.com, HADESTOWN, is the best way to get tickets right now. It will also be at all the regular venues, Ticketmaster, everywhere. All you have to do is Google it and millions of things will come up. We're announcing actually today our cast, which is an amazing cast of Broadway veterans and some new extraordinary people. Eva Noblezada, who just finished 5 years of Miss Saigon for Andrew Lloyd Webber, both in the West End and on Broadway. 22 years old is our lead Eurydice. She's Filipino, Malaysian, Mexican. She is everything.
Filipino, Malaysian, Mexican.
She's unbelievable. She's just an extraordinary, extraordinary talent. She's going to have she already has a major career and she's 22. Reeve Carney and Patrick Page, both Broadway veterans of Spider-Man. Andre DeShield was the original Mr. Wiz in The Wiz and is just one of the most amazing performers on the planet. You can't believe how this guy moves, and he's just incredible. And Amber Gray, who was in The Comet of 1812, which was nominated for Tonys last year, and was also got awards for a play she did called Octoroon. Incredible talent. So we're hoping to make a lot of stars on this show. These are extraordinary talents, and we made the decision not to cast a star versus making a star. So it's been a really great journey that way.
Great. So HadesTown.com is where people can go for all the information. And Dale, it was so wonderful to have you here. I know we'll have you back because there's more coming, definitely, from you.
Thank you.
Stick around. We'll be right back on the Josefa Salinas Show.
Imagination Wonder Park is a go!
There's nothing more powerful than imagination. But don't just imagine. Use STEM to change the world.
Who's with me?
Oh, it's gonna hurt tomorrow.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at SheCanSTEM.